Hi, moi, it's Temph here. I got a quick announcement to say, I have a gig in Cambridge again for the CamCon event of 2013. It's 31st of August, so if any of my England subscribers are able to make it to Cambridge in 1st of August, you may need to buy tickets pretty early, really. So I would say that the info would go below, but then I've got to put all the questions for the Q&A below. So I might have to talk about this in another video. So just let you know that I'll be playing at CamCon again in the 2003 CamCon in August 31st. So now I'm gonna do today's Q&A, and we'll start off with PEScharlie. What's your opinion on the Metal Gear Solid series? I think the Metal Gear Solid series is pretty brilliant in the sense of when that game first came out. I remember it's like one of the first stealth games, not proper full stealth like Tenchu, but it was great. It was a great game to mix the cinematic and stealth with a good action, type of game. I did enjoy that game. I did enjoy Metal Gear Solid 1. It was pretty brilliant. I kind of did fall off the Metal Gear Solid series. The games are a bit more movie story wise than it is gameplay, which I have respect for it because it was more or less the first one that did that, so, but it's not really my type. It's not really a series that I would follow, but it's still a great franchise, still a great series. Second, can we expect to see any more Destroy Unwanted? If I get more ideas on how would I want to destroy them, I don't want to do the exact same ones again, if you know what I mean. I think I've got a few things that I could destroy, but I don't know what is ever going to be funnier than the TV one. The television one just came out so perfect. OnACloudHusky asks, hey Temph, despite your preference for games emphasizing gameplay elements over story elements, which game story has you impressed and immersed you by your recall? Why? I think there's loads of stories that always going to have something, but people are probably going to be shocked with the one that I'm going to say here. But the story that I have been really into mostly is King's in Tekken's. People might say that's just a little biased thing here, but here's the thing with Tekken right here. I always remembered how Armor King was killed by Marduk. It's like I couldn't wait to see the ending of Tekken 4 to see what was King gonna do with Marduk. And then you saw the ending. It was nice. It was brilliant. Then Tekken 5 came, and then you start to realize that Marduk used Armor King's mask and challenged King, which angers King. And it's like I couldn't wait to see what happens after that. Then Armor King knocks out King in his ending. I was like, rah, what happened there? Now I couldn't wait to see what the story happened there. Now Tekken 6 then Tekken 6 came. It turns out that Armor King is a new Armor King, and he feels King has betrayed the first Armor King by teaming up with Marduk. Now he wants to kill Marduk, and he doesn't like King. What are they going to do in Tekken 7? I can't wait to see. I actually can't wait to see King and Armor King and Marduk's prologue and epilogue. those are the stories that you know, I never usually concentrate on stories in games, but this is something that I actually can't wait to see. This is like these are like the only times where I'm actually can't wait to see a cutscene. You know what I mean? So that's the story that's got me, definitely. Second, do you have a vision of what you'd like the world to be in the future? Can cover society, media, politics, whatever you want really. If so, what is this and why? You know, to be really honest, I don't actually have a vision, really. You know, because then there could be things that I liked back in the olden days that then it's not like that today, but maybe if it was like that today, it could be bad. Like, not bad, but like it could be, you know, it'd just be the same thing. So it'd be kind of hard to say what exactly is good for the future that I would like. That's a tough way to put it. I mean, the only way I could imagine is not having new things or everything really, really brand new, just new ways of doing old things. That's the only way I'd like the whole world to be, and that would be in every aspect, you know. I don't know how I can probably explain that in words. Maybe that might have to be another video, you know. But yeah, I'm sorry to say, but I can't give you a good full answer for that one. That's quite a tough one. Nah. Asynergex, I think I pronounced that right. Asked what did you think about the Silva versus Weidman fight? Well, I'm one of these type of guys that's saying if Silva didn't play about stupidly, he could have won the fight. I'm one of the guys that's saying that. I know a lot of people are saying that you know, the reason why he showboated is because Weidman took him down, and Weidman shown that he could probably beat him, so he tried to use mental games to throw Weidman off, and it didn't work. That could be true, but I still stick to what I believe about if Anderson Silva fought like the way he used to fight. Like, if he fought him the way he fought Ryo Chonan before he got that flying heel hook thing, yeah? If he fought Chris Weidman as he fought Rich Franklin and all that, you know, the way he used to fight those guys is he didn't used to think about the mental event or try throwing them off or, you know, showboating. He just went in and fought them, just using all the skills he had and just doing them. And, you know, his skill sets improved so much that he could really just beat anyone in seconds, but he chooses to do showboat to make it a good show for the crowd. I just feel for this one, he went too far. He showboated much more in this little match than he did in the whole Forrest Griffin and Bonner fight combined. And that's what the problem is. But anyway, I really feel yeah, that fight, it wasn't fixed. I know I'm gonna say that. A lot of people are saying it's fixed. It's not fixed. I can honestly say that one. But I really wish Silva did what he's good at doing. You know what I mean? Who is your current favourite UFC fighter? Well, my current is Diego Sanchez, but I've hardly been following a lot of what he does recently because he's hardly been fighting. You know, yeah. When it says current, it changes all the time, really, because I'm into a lot of fighters. You know, like Jose Aldo, John Bones Jones. You know, I'm a bit into Michael Bisping as well, and like Demetrius Johnson. Can't wait to see him fight. I like Showtime Pettis. It's quite a load of fighters I like, really. You know. Now let's go to Wrestling Machine 9999. In Mortal Kombat 1, Prince Goro is known for being a very hard boss to defeat. But did you find Goro a hard boss to beat when you first played MK1? You want to know something random? I never actually got to the boss. I never actually got to Goro in Mortal Kombat 1. I've only just seen it being played. You know, when I used to play Mortal Kombat 1, that was with friends. That was with friends, multiplayer all the time. Like, if you're talking about Mortal Kombat on the Mega Drive. The only time I actually got to Goro was on the Game Boy version of Mortal Kombat. You know, I got to Goro, and he was a little bit easy on that. But, you know, that's the Game Boy. What if he was hard on the Mega Drive version? So I can't give you a good answer, because the Mega Drive version could be different than the Game Boy version. But yes, on the Game Boy, he was easy. And second, which fighting game character do you think has the most arrogant and cocky attitude? I think Hwoarang on Tekken. That cocky attitude, yeah, came about around Tekken 4, where he's all like, you know, oh yeah, shut up already. Like, I already won and all that. When he beats you, he sits down all bored, you know, it's just like, as if you just complete nothing. You know, I'm like, that is a guy you just want to punch in the fucking face. And Darkhustler asks, what next gen game are you looking forward to on the PS4, Xbox One? Well, one game I'm definitely hyped for is The Evil Within. I don't know if that's on the PS4 or if that's going to be on the PS3 as well. I don't even know if I'm buying a PS4. There's a chance, but I'm not sure. The Evil Within does look like a fantastic game, you know, and that's really more or less the game I'd like. So that's more or less about it. I mean, there's the UFC games, the new UFC games. Yeah, that was where they joined with EA Sports. Can't wait for those as well. But and I can't wait for whatever Tekken game in the future comes out. And that's about it, really. Probably can't wait for whatever Wipeout game comes out in the future as well. Alright, Martino007 asks, hi, how are you? So, you like to gamble at all slot machines? Fruit for you in the UK? Poker, blackjack, lottery or whatnot? I'm not really the type of gambler. I definitely don't go gambling. I remember one time I went into the casino and I thought, you know what? I got £2 to spare. Let's just lose £2 and see if I can just randomly win something really good just for £2, right? Went to the machines and it turned out the minimum is £5. I'm like, okay, I'm not wasting £5 to gamble. I'm like, wow, man, that's how these people lose £26,000 in one night. Fuck that shit, man. Gambling's not for me. I do the lottery. That's different. The lottery's different. That went down the wrong hole. Okay. Where was I? Sorry, my eyes are watering for a bit there. It's funny you drink water and it just goes down the wrong hole. Okay. MrGrimezTheAntiHero asks, what's your thoughts on Pacific Rim? I I think that film is okay at best. A lot of people were thinking I was going to love this film, yeah, because they're saying it's like real still. It's not like real still. Now, when I was going to the film in the first place, I knew, yeah, that I wasn't really going to like it as much as real still, due to the fact that when it comes to most these type films, I usually like competitive stuff. You know, the thing in real still was, how good is your robot? You want your robot to be the best. You want your robot to be a champion. That's what real still is. This film is about saving the world. Loads of that type of film already. You know, the action wasn't as perfect, but it's for understandable reasons. You know, some of the monsters in Pacific Rim looked a little rushed. The film looked a little rushed. The acting wasn't really all that. The storyline, in my opinion, stretched on a bit too much, and it's over. It's a good film. It's a film that maybe I might buy the Blu-ray, you know, but it's not something that really has made me hyped to say that, man, the Blu-ray is definitely on my freaking desk before it comes out. You know what I mean? So it's not like, it just doesn't feel the same. And a second, do you have any predictions for your life within the next 2 years? Or is there something you would like to achieve with the next 2 years? Well, the first thing I definitely want to achieve is finishing the Zapely model, finishing all the stuff I know I need to finish with Zapely right now. That's really a goal right now. And another goal is to finish some more music tracks. I want to. You know what I just want? I want my flow to come back. Just want my flow. I don't know if that flow is dead, but that's really more what I would like. I feel like I can't move any more forward unless the flow is back. So that's the best answer I can give for that one. And Stephen Jamieson asks, what would your reaction be if there was a Tekken X Real Steel or Real Steel X Tekken game released? Well, I'd be more shocked than happy to think that they would actually do that. You know, it would really be hyped. You know, I can imagine how brilliant that would be, because Real Steel was a great game and Tekken's a fantastic game. Now, Tekken's already done something with them. You know, in Tekken Tag, they already done this like little mode where you could make the moves for combat. You know, I really like that mode. It was a really terrific mode. It was just almost like making your fighting robot right there. So I can imagine them doing an actual Real Steel mode, but an actual whole Real Steel game, that'd be kind of funky, really. So we'll be seeing stuff like Jin versus Noisy Boy. That'd be an actual good match, by the way. That would actually be a good match. You know, King versus Ambush. Why not? Why not? That sounds pretty cool. And second, who do you think are the most underrated, overrated characters in Tekken? Is there I don't think there is any overrated or underrated, really. I feel like if you're a guy, you know, if you're a guy who just likes only cool looking dudes, if you're a guy who really cares about how serious someone's face is and how serious stuff they wear is, you know, I mean, I know some people, yeah, who could look at this character, say, right, this character looks mean and everything and all that, yeah, but the trousers he's wearing makes him look gay. Okay, I'm not, you know, if you're like one of those type of characters who don't care, you've got characters for you. You'd probably be the ones who'd pick Kazuya, Jin, and everything and all that. Then you've got random guys who would just be like, why the hell is that character? to wearing a jaguar mask for? Why is he raw like it? Just so stupid. You know, those type of people are not the ones who'd pick King. Then, obviously, anyone who's into Anthro, you know, most people... I mean, I'll go to loads of Anthro sites and they are classifying King as if he's an Anthro character. And you can understand why. In Tekken 1 and 2, he looked more Anthro because of the bad graphics. It didn't really look like a mask. And people like those would also pick characters like Kuma, Panda, Roger and Alex. Anybody who's into, you know, anything artistic, non-human stuff would pick bosses like Ogre, you know, maybe Mokujin as well. You know, I just feel that it all just depends on. You'll find more characters is just whoever uses them perfect. Infinite. A lot of people I know, or people around me sometimes, think sumo is a gay sport, so therefore they'll never pick a character like Ganryu, or how you pronounce his name. Now, when I play against Ganryu players online, they are fucking brilliant with him. You know, it's like if people could just look past the how they look and what they're wearing and blah blah blah, they could really love those characters. But the truth is, there's a character for everyone in that game. So I wouldn't say there's overrated or underrated. There's a character for everyone in that game. You know, so that's my best answer for that one. Bellamyfanboy asks, if you could meet an alternative version of yourself, what would it be? For example, you said that you're an MMA fan and not a fighter. So if, say, an alternate universe reality you met version of Temph who became a professional MMA fighter, what would you talk to yourself about? Well, we probably would talk about MMA and music, because the truth is, even though, like, I am an MMA fan, not a fighter. If I was a fighter, I'd probably still be talking about MMA. You know, so we'd always be talking about MMA and music. You know, I make music, but I'm pretty sure I love music as well. So even if so that alternate version, we probably wouldn't make music or animation, but you probably might love the music and animation. You know, so I guess we'd still have loads to talk about, really. You know, imagine an opposite of myself. If he was thinking opposite, like he likes everything that I like and or hates everything that I love or whatever, that'd be a tough one. I'd hate to meet that guy. Second, in Metal Gear series, Big Boss had 3 clones made from his DNA: Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, and Solidus Snake. If your best friend decided to clone you without permission, how would you feel? Also, to add on to your shock, these 3 clones of you were all better at music, animation, and darts than you, respectively. Well, I wouldn't know how to feel then, because that would obviously pressure me more to know that I was cloned and then that clone does music better than me. You know, a random guy makes music better than the original person. That would be embarrassing. Because music comes from within. You know, you don't program a robot to make music. So that would feel pretty... That would be very embarrassing. You know? I mean, I'd like... And then animation-wise, I'd like to do everything I can, yeah, to make Zape a success. And if a person makes a clone, and what does he do? Either make his own MMA monster, or does he go and steal Zape from me and makes him... You know, it'd feel weird. It'd feel bad. darts, I don't mind. I ain't played darts for quite a long while, really. But you know, I could see that one not being too much of a problem. But music and animation is like, my life right now, and for a clone to be able to be better than me would be embarrassing. I couldn't even explain the feeling. It would be too shocking. And Venom3421 asks, what do you think of Ultra Street Fighter 4? Do you think it's a waste of space to add characters from Street Fighter Cross Tekken like Poison, Hugo, Elena, and Rolento? Well, I don't think it's a waste, because keep in mind, Elena was actually from Street Fighter 3, and Hugo was actually from Final Fight, and Poison, maybe, I think she could have been, I don't know if she was actually in Final Fight as well, but I know she's like Hugo's trainer and manager or whatever. I don't know if she was actually like a boss herself in Final Fight, but and Rolento was actually in Street Fighter Alpha 3. So at the end of the day, they're not really adding characters, they're bringing back characters that people wanted. Because I do recall a time where a lot of people wanted Elena back. In Super Street Fighter 4, they put Dudley, but they didn't put Elena. They're both from the same game, Street Fighter 3. Anybody who was, when you're a fan of a game, yeah, you're always going to want them back. Like, I'm a fan of Add-on. I'm actually a massive fan of Add-on. And when they put him out on all the alpha games, and then they didn't put him in Street Fighter 4, I was pissed. So when Super Street Fighter 4 came out, I was bare happy. You know what I mean? So there must be an Elena fan out there, a Rolento fan out there, a Hugo fan out there, and I don't know about Poison, but there's a fan for each of these characters out there. They must be happy that this game's coming out. So really, it's all about thinking about other people, really. And second, how long were you playing darts, and what made you no longer play? Well, I remembered playing for the pubs. When I was playing in the pubs, I started when I was 17, which I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to wait. They were supposed to wait till I was 18, but I was kind of getting to the point of turning 18. But they said I looked older than 17 anyway, so they just put me in the teams anyway. So that was funny. So yeah, I was 17, and when did I stop? I think I stopped around when I was 20. Okay, but let's not count it that way. Let's go to, what year was it? About 2006 I might have stopped. 2006? No, I might have still been playing. Then 2000. I can't exactly remember the year that I stopped, but it clearly was over 5 years. That's a definite fact. Now the reason why I stopped is more or less because I wanted to really push full time towards music and animation. If I thought I had to put 100% towards efforts to working on this. Now one of the things I always used to do is practice darts at home. Now in the studio I used to have the dartboard on the wall, and then my studio table got put there. It's like, when you throw darts on the wall, it always will bounce out. Sometimes you get the bounce out, and then it makes a hole in chairs and the floors and everything. It makes a hole all over the place. I didn't want no holes in my table. That table was like 400 quid. And it's like, I don't want no holes in the equipment either. You could, these are equipment that I really love. Music has sort of taken over, so I really took this where I was really taking it seriously. So I took the dartboard down, don't practice at home anymore, and don't really go to play darts anymore. The whole team actually wants me back. Maybe I could start going again, but you know, I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens. And DeelDough asks, when you first started YouTube, did people leaving you nasty, hateful comments and disliking your videos bothered you? Yes, in the beginning it did. You know, people used to be very racist and stuff. They did used to bother me. I remember making a video about racist, and I was calling out some of the guys. A lot of people were just being nasty. I used to share opinions and people couldn't just accept the opinions and stuff and say I was stupid because I was black and all that. You know, they were pretty bothering at the time. And there was the time when I did say, you know what, I don't even know why the hell I'm on this bloody site for. I don't even know why I do this for. And somebody told me that, don't worry, one day all these haters are going to be gone and all you're going to have on here is just people who like you. And man, was that person so right? You know, I really appreciate all the support that I've got from everyone on here so far. I really enjoy it. And then one thing I noticed is when I started receiving hate again, and when I started to receive hate again, then more great people came in. That's the times when I notice, man, the more people who like you and hate you, the more bigger you get, really. I ain't had haters for a long while. Where are those haters? Bring them on. And second, have you ever considered doing YouTube full time? Well, in a technical term, I am trying to do YouTube full time. Unfortunately, the thing with YouTube, the thing with the YouTube career is that when I used to do videos back in the olden days, I used to do in detail reviews and all that sort of things. You know, if I was to say, all right, I'm gonna do YouTube full time, I would have to like go back to making those type of videos. But those type of videos did take a bit of a toll on time doing the music and animation. You know, I really want to put everything I've got into music and animation. That's why I've not really come forth into YouTube that often. What I would like to do is do more music and animation, and hope those brings up a bit more of you know, what makes people live with YouTube. Hopefully the music and animation does it more, because I'd like to release music on iTunes, but I also still like to release music on YouTube as well. So so it's a bit of a tough situation, really. And Zaid12 asks, what do you think about Batman and Superman's world's finest film coming in 2015 and Flash in 2016? They were confirmed at the recent Comic-Con. Well, I'm not really into Superman, Batman and Flash. When it comes to superheroes, you know who I'm into, really. I'm more into more into the Incredible Hulk. I'm into Wolverine, you know, the old school Wolverine. And I'm sometimes into Fantastic Four because I'm into like the Thing. But I'm not really too much into superheroes. I was into Kick-Ass. You know, Justice League is okay-ish, but it's all about Incredible Hulk for me. And second, what three classic Atari games would you like to see an HD revision of? Granted, the gameplay and originality wasn't changed. Mine are Berserk, Pitfall and Combat. Mine's very close. Mine is Berserk, Combat and Defender. You know, I think Defender is a game here that had something about it. People could just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and don't care about saving the people, you know. But then when you actually concentrate on saving the people and stuff, that is when the game gets hard. So it was kind of its charm. You could either just turn it on. Actually, what other games? But then, actually, that's a time. Actually, no. Let's scrap that. Let's scrap Let's scrap Defender. Actually, I'll change that here to Robot Tank. That was also a lovely game for the Atari. Or shall I? No, let's actually scrap that one as well. How about Battlezone? It's kind of almost the same type of game. As you can see, yeah, it could be anyone in it, really. But definitely with Berserk and Combat, I definitely would agree with you right there. They'll probably do some good HD versions and stuff like that on the Ouya. And bboyagenttekken asks, what are your thoughts on street performing in general? Also, if you had the chance to do so, then what would you like to perform exactly and why? Well, if I could get one of those random generators which allows, you know, which allows me to have electricity outside, maybe I could perform my music outside, you know. I have to admit, it'd be a bit more nerve-wracking than it would be performing in the conventions, but maybe that is what I could do for performance. I don't mind some performances, but then what some people gain and get when they usually go for performances does throw me off and scare me a bit. You know, it's a bit that one's a tough one, really. And what will be the future of the transit system, if any, for the UK, the rest of the Europe and world? I don't know. I don't know. What would be the future of the transit system? It's not something that I usually think about. When it comes to most of the when it comes to transports and all that sort of things, yeah, I'm not really too known about that. Whether it's public transport or whether it's transport or whether it's transporting you because your car broke down or blah blah blah. I'm not really too sure about these certain things. So now therapmetalhero as, hi, how are you? I'm a new subscriber and new on YouTube. Are you into motion gaming control stuff in general? Some. Well, I was into the Wii. I did play a lot of the Wii games, and I didn't mind, yeah, a lot of motion control early games that was on the PS3, like Super Rubber Dub and what's that game called, Blast Factor, which had a little bit of a motion control in there. I don't mind them, but I usually prefer gaming an arcade style, using arcade sticks, arcade steering wheels. Can't imagine using steering with motion and everything and all that. But yeah, I don't mind some of the games, some of the motion control games. I did like bowling, like Wii bowling and stuff like that, and you know, boxing, you know, those type of games. Now, the second question: do you like to play Assassin's Creed? No, I don't. It's not really my type of game, but I've watched people play it. It looks like a pretty cool game. It looks well done, but not my type of game. All right, guys. That's the questions for the Q&A. What do I have next coming? For videos, I don't actually have a video planned of anything I want to upload in the future. But one thing I do have to say that will be coming in the future is a new little music track. It's only going to be a 90-second track, but you'll know what it's for when it comes up. You probably may already know about the subject, but there's going to be a new track coming up later on. It might be the next. It might be the next yep. So that's all I got to say, guys. Yeah. So thanks very much, and I'll speak to you all later. Love who you are.